Welcome back to the Fast Life Podcast. It's Monday, the last day of September. I want to thank you for joining us again. I want to thank our sponsor, Simpson Motorcycle Helmets. And as many of you know, obviously, I'm a huge fan of the Simpson Motorcycle Helmet line. Ran a couple of them personally myself. I'm waiting on one to come in now for a new idea that I have for it. It's going to be pretty badass. I want to check out some cool things. Go to their website. You can see all the models, all the colorways, all the options with the the different lenses that you can buy to kind of trick it out and make it your own. You also want to check that out at simpsonmotorcyclehelmets.com. Also, later on this month, Simpson's mother store in New Braunfels, Texas is having their annual open house car and bike show, which is Saturday, October 19th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. In addition to that, we're going to do a little camp out there. It's not like an official Fast Life camp out, but it's just something for everybody in the Texas area that's not used to riding all the way to Oklahoma that, just do the city thing. They could get some of this camp out kind of vibe and feel. So you guys should come out, check it out. We're going to be camping out from the Friday the 18th through Sunday. So come out, hang out, drink some beer, have a good time, and follow Simpson Motorcycle Helmets on Instagram as well, checking out their website. Lex and Moto dropped some new products this year at AIM Expo, and they are available. You need to go to their website and check it out. The FT4 Pro is the first in the industry to have a patented utility light with SOS function. The GT8 will be the absolute cutting edge with all the latest and greatest, including audio paralleling, I fuck that up every time, and mesh technology. Both wireless chargers will work with any phone that has a wireless charging capabilities and will mount to any RAM mount. I have one of those myself. I use it all the time on the market. All products were designed to meet the demands of the consumers in the industry. Their customers told them what they wanted, and damn it, they built it for them. Lex and Moto will continue to build products the rider wants and needs, and all backed by amazing warranties. Check out more info on all these products at lexonmotorcycle.com. And don't forget to use Fast Life at checkout for 15% off, and give the team a follow on Instagram at LexonMoto. Once again, your hub in NorCal for custom bikes, custom everything is John Jessup's Team Dream Rides. They're the guys, man. You got to check them out. Bike sales, builds, maintenance, in-house dyno tuning. If you're in Stockton, California, if you're not in Stockton, California, you can always go to the website, teamdreamrides.com. They are bringing new products regularly. Fucking that one up too. And now offering 100 days same as cash financing on all products you see on their website. If you have a job and a bank account, you're approved. And don't forget to use offer code FASTLIFE for 10% off. Give John and the team a follow at Dream Rides John on Instagram. Lindahl on everything. That has definitely been a true statement for us here at the Fast Life Garage. Lindahl makes some of the highest quality brake rotors and wheels on the market, backed by the best brake pads in the industry. Check out LindahlBrakes.com and see what they have for your bike. And don't forget to use Fast Life at checkout for 10% off, and stay up to date with the Lindahl team by following them on Lindahl Brakes on Instagram. Kevin and his team at Big Bear Performance have been investing their product line into parts that make your Harley perform and feel and look amazing. Along with being the industry leader in Olin suspension sales, service, and tuning, check out BigBearPerformance.com, and you can always give Kevin a call at 909-479-7788 and get all the info from his mouth himself. Check it out. Big Bear Choppers on Instagram. Last but not least, I want to thank my boy Brian, Paint Here for Metal Flake. Been a sponsor since podcast number 2. Thank you. As you all know, Paint Huffer Metal Flake is the industry standard when it comes to flake, and one of the key elements in helping your paint job stand out. Brian is constantly on the grind, pushing boundaries and developing new products. Check out painthuffer.com. Use Fast Life at checkout for 10% off. Follow Paint Huffer Metal Flake on Instagram and stay up to date on the product releases. Oh, my compressor went off. And the works of art produced by many artists from around the globe. And we have another podcast releasing later on in October with some great paint conversations. So check it out. It's coming soon. What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I want to thank all you listeners for tuning in, and thank you for helping this podcast grow. If you can, continue to share it on your social media pages and tell your friends and tell your moms and all that kind of shit. I appreciate it. It's helping us grow and it's helping us reach bigger companies. Not that the ones that we haven't reached aren't the shit, but just it's helping us get bigger in the industry, which is going to help us bring more content, as well as all you Patreon guys. You guys really help out a lot too by helping us pave the way financially so that we can do these podcasts. I want to appreciate all that. If you are interested in helping support that way, please go to fastlifegarage.com, and on the front page there's a link that says become a patron, and all it takes is $1 a month. That's $12 a year. Obviously billed monthly. That way if I say something that you absolutely cannot stand, then you can kind of stop or whatever the case may be. But just understand that this is really the only way we can make money, through this and sponsors. So until we have, Joe Rogan numbers, which I don't ever think will happen in the motorcycle industry, then, sponsors are just the amount of money we make on that really just helps do exactly what I'm asking you to do, which is helping us travel to these spots or get these people on or upgrade equipment for better sound quality and things like that. So anyway, I appreciate it. I hope you guys are enjoying all these podcasts. This podcast is with John Shope. He's one of the pioneers in the big wheel bagger movement. More so that anything, I've been wanting to bridge the gap between the performance bike stuff, which is obviously what a lot of our listenership is, but I want to pay homage to a lot of the people in this industry that has really helped shape and form, the last 15 to 20 years of the motorcycle industry. And, John Shope has built some crazy bikes. He really ushered in a really attitude-driven style to bikes. Believe it or not, he's always been really big into doing wheelies and doing crazy shit. He's just been doing them on baggers. And now with his new stuff, what he's doing on the Dirty Tails, it's just nice seeing someone continue to evolve in this industry like I have, from sport bikes to big wheel baggers to FXRs and now performance baggers. It's like it being in the motorcycles is just an evolution. Like, you kind of try new shit and just see what's all out there. So anyway, here's John Shope, Dirty Bird Concepts.
Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
People who listen to this know that we're in shops and people are doing business and shit, so it's all good. Okay. Well, shit, man. I guess we can get started on this. So, John Shope, man, what the fuck, man?
Are we live?
We're live. We're rolling. Do
I need to hold this microphone or what?
Nah, you got it right there. It's catching all you. So, right. Yeah, dude, it's been years, man. Like, I've been following you for fucking. It's funny because Yaffe did the El Chupacabra or some shit like that, and then it was badass bike, one of my favorites. Yeah. And then
the primer one.
Yeah, like the brown primer one and shit. And then
that stuff was 6 months behind our bikes, dude. Yeah.
You did the white one. Was it Dirty Money? Or that fucking thing was.
That was a year later.
That was the one that like made road glides the shit. You know what I mean? Because they were not fucking cool until the big wheel went under them. Right. And then that one just had the fucking. I saw what you did. You took your chopper shit and you applied it to the bagger with the pipes in the Ford, and you just kind of, man, it was just a wild fucking contraption of a bike that just worked. You know what I mean? And
we've had a pretty good run with the baggers.
So I was watching some of your YouTube videos and the videos you've been posting, and like you got your start. You're from San Diego originally, right?
Yeah. Then I moved to Oregon. Did some stuff up there, and then Phoenix in 01.
Yeah. So building bikes up there, you were doing a whole bunch of the chopper things and had customers and clients and stuff already? Or?
Yeah, in Oregon it's pretty tough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It rains a lot and pretty tough. So if I wouldn't have moved here, none of this would have happened. Yeah. And I knew it. I kept coming down here for bike week and visiting, and man, I had to move here.
Yeah.
So my wife's in the Air Force, so there happened to be an opening here, and I'm all, it's a sign. It's a sign.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So we packed our stuff.
That's
had
cool.
One little boy at that time,
and so you were doing all the, like, were you fabricating the bikes and like taking frames and making them yours and things like that, or?
Sometimes we'd build the whole frame.
Nice.
Sometimes I'd take a frame and just cut it up and change it. That's easier. Take somebody else's gas tank and flip the sides in, weld some rod down it, blow holes through it, just whatever my crazy mind
would do at the time.
Come up with. Yeah.
How was it for you in the scene, like during that whole chopper craze that was going on?
I was kind of in the end of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, I was recognized, but I never got on. If I would have got on that build off, I would have did good, I think. I just never could get there. And then all of a sudden the lights went out.
Yeah.
You know?
And it probably had a lot to do with the economy crash too and shit like that. Yeah. Did y'all feel that too much?
Yeah. I kind of felt like the choppers went to the biggest back tire they could get, and then it just, there was nowhere for it to go. Mm-hmm. You know, and the baggers are kind of went to stupid too, you know, with the 32 and 34 and even the 30 I'm not a fan of.
Do you ever look at the bagger scene now and like with any kind of like saltiness to it, considering how much of it, like, you know, I give you a quick story, like me, like a lot of my career was with these baggers. A lot of things, getting out there, getting my skills and learning how to do shit was because of these big wheel baggers.
Yeah.
And then so I had like this real appreciation for the bike itself, even though, you know, what it's turned into. But, you know, it kind of like when you see these dudes out here standing on seats and acting like fucking dorks and shit, it kind of like pisses me off more than anything, because it's like it makes a mockery of something that I really hold true to my past and career, you know? Right. And so the last thing I ever wanted to see was like the big wheel bagger become the joke of the motorcycle industry years later, when it had some really badass things about it, you know?
My feeling is it went too far and now it's reeling back in. Mm-hmm. Like you'll see a lot of 23s, 26s, and the bags are shorter. Mm-hmm. You know, stock still ain't cool really, but a little longer than stock. So where I thought it should have stopped is where it's going back to, and that's really exciting me. You know, we've been doing our dirty tails, but a lot of bagger parts we still sell. Yeah. The spaceship stuff, dude, they keep making these ass ends longer and longer. They can have that shit. Yeah. I laugh at it. These guys come in, they can't even barely turn the bikes. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've made a few spaceships because I had to, but just to show, you know, but man, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, well, the other good thing about all the parts that you've always kind of produced or kind of had available for us is you know, when we started kind of customizing bikes, I hate to say build them, because you know, we would take like your side covers and your tank things and mold them on, and like the dashes and mold them into the fairings and shit. And it just kind of gave the bike a different edge. And for like some of us more smaller time dudes, it was cool having those kind of tools out there that we can kind of make our own.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? So
that's still going on. Yeah. Some guys in their garage, some guys, you know, in shops, they're getting builds and then they'll buy stuff from us. You know, same thing that's been going on.
You've always been like deep into other shit too, like with the sandrail cars, and kind of had this like all over the place maniac kind of vibe going on, man. How you still alive, dude?
I don't know. I just had a double fusion in my back in November. They put 12 screws in, 2 rods and 2 spacers, but I tell you, I don't have no back pain. I took my kid out. My kid races flat track, and I borrowed my guy's, one of my buddy's 500s, and I raced. I wasn't supposed to. Yeah. And this guy, and I'm in second place. I'm like, man, fuck, I'm back. You know? And then this guy comes out of nowhere and takes me out. And I go down on my elbows, and my shit's all scraped up. Fuck. I go down on my face. And then I'm so mad about him taking me out. You know, if I crash, that's one thing. So I'm chasing this dude around the track. I'm going to beat his ass. And everybody's freaking out or whatever. So finally the guy after the race, I don't even know who it was, he comes up and he's 50 feet away apologizing as loud as he can. I'm sorry, bro. You didn't deserve to be on the dirt. And by the time he got to me, I was over it. And I was like, whatever, shit happens. But I feel like that was a sign for me not to race. Because if I blow one of them screws out or something, I'd be in a fucking wheelchair.
Damn, it sucks.
I know.
But yeah, so it's, I mean, like you've kind of done that stuff. I saw you did a lot of shit with Indian a couple of years too. Yeah. How did that go?
Not, you know, a lot of people didn't want to or couldn't grasp the ugly Indian look, the vintage look, you know. So Indian now is really going after Harley. So the new Indian looks like a street glide. So I made all parts for that bike. Yeah. And they're getting ready to do a road glide that's going to come out, you know, or a version of it. I'm not gonna say they're gonna take over, but they're here to stay. So I've got a bunch of parts for those too.
I'm interested to see what, you know, because that Road Glide kind of like sneak peek. It had like an inverted front end and Brembo calipers. It'd be nice to see if Harley took that kind of take and started producing some more higher quality suspension components and braking components and stuff. But Fuck,
Who knows? They're trying to do electric bikes or whatever. I don't really know where it's all going, dude. It's a guess.
It's the fucking future, man.
Yeah.
It's literally the future. Like, they're not flying yet, but this is the first step to get to a flying bike.
Yeah, it kind of scares me, because I wonder where my stuff's going to go,
Man, the optimistic side of me looks at the electric motorcycle thinking, like, how, if it was to ever fall into the hands of someone like you or a builder, like, how could there be an aftermarket for it? And would it be like something that could be cool? You know what I mean? Like, that's a weird, it's like,
how could you appeal to the younger people with it, with cool stuff for it, because that's who's going to be riding it, is the, whatever they are, what are they called, snowflakes or
I don't think that's the correct term, but
something like that.
It's the Gen Y. They say millennials, but I'm a millennial and I was born in 82, so like, there's two different versions of millennials. You got the late millennials, like the or the early ones, I don't know, but like 95, I think, or 96 is the cutoff.
Maybe we should call them the dipshits.
I guess so.
I mean, all they want to do is video game or whatever. So
that's the Gen Y. That's the like 95 or 96 and now.
Right.
They grew up with the internet, though we didn't. You know, like I didn't. I mean, I had to play outside when I was a kid.
Yeah, I like. My kids are always on this stuff. I tell them, get your ass outside.
The air.
Does that matter?
Let me see. It's loud as fuck, but. Let me see.
I mean, I could try to turn it off.
Yeah, see if you can turn it off real quick.
Texas. There's going to be a pocket of chopper guys, a small pocket. There'll be some bobber guys. There'll be some dirty tail, Softail, cholo guys. And there'll be some, Dyna guys. And that's it. Everybody's going to have, nothing's going to be all in one like it was for the choppers and it's never going to happen again. There's nothing that can come along that can take over and just...
It really makes me wonder, because if you think about the two phases, they were at two different times of media, right? Yeah. So the chopper thing kind of started getting big in the late 90s, and then it blew up in the early 2000s with the TV influx. And then social media started coming out around 04, 05 with like MySpace and shit. But then when it turned into like Instagram and, the Facebook thing and how they used that once like 2010 and 11 came, then it boomed. I feel like that boomed the bagger thing, as far as like showing the bikes and then this thing fucking spread across country quick, I
was on the social media thing right away.
Yeah.
Yaffe never got on it. A bunch of them never got on it. They missed it.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Yeah, that fucking Facebook, man. That seems like the place. Like, I know a lot of the big wheel stuff is still like business takes place there still. So
we have like 500,000 followers on Facebook.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah, I do a lot of car flipping shit too. Old muscle cars and stuff like that. I love those cars, but still tons of the dirty tails. I can't believe those dirty tails took off like they did.
Yeah, like I was telling you on the phone, man. That fucking shovel. I already took a video and put it on my Instagram today, but. That shovel was like the thing that made me start looking at other bikes other than baggers. You know what I mean? Because I was kind of stuck in that tribalism thing of like it's fucking big wheel or fuck off kind of thing. And then I was at Arizona Bike Week, man, and I remember seeing it. You rode it up to like Westworld or whatever the fuck that place is called. We were doing a big wheel bagger show or whatever, and I was like, fuck, man, like that's cool. It's different. It was a shovel, and I was like kind of getting into old motors at the time and stuff. I wasn't really. I kind of grew up in the fuel-injected era, so that bike was badass. And then seeing how you kind of birthed that side of the industry with the big wheel on that bike and it proportioned right, and you know what I mean?
So what happened was me and Sideshow actually built two of those shovels for my kids. And I got them done. Me and my wife rode them around town. Everybody was digging them, took them to Sturgis. But they were pieces of shit. Kick start, leaking oil. Some guys will say, rah, rah. Well, you know what? They're junk.
Yeah.
So I said to myself, what if I take a new Softail and cut the neck off, you know what I mean, and make it ride really good and look like this bike. So we did one, took it to Sturgis, sold it the first day, and then I said, that's it. So I started making fenders, neck kits, the swing arms, the pipes, and the whole look. And I can't tell you how many we've sold now, we've built.
Yeah.
Like, I did it because I love it. I mean, if a builder can make a bike look cool, usually they don't ride good.
Yeah.
So if you could make it look cool and ride better, that's like your highest achievement. And I did it with these bikes. Every time I see one of those bikes with the swing arm and the shocks on the back, you know what I mean? Or Sideshow sees it, we say, hey, that's a dirty tail. And these other guys are posting, well, what about mine? And you got the stock ill-riding Softail shocks under there.
Yeah,
they're junk. Dude. They ride like ass. And then in the front, we cut the neck off and we put the Road Glide trees in there, you know, in the neck. So the tubes are behind the neck. So it handles like a ultra-light Road Glide or Road King or whatever. I mean, if you ride one, anyone that's rode one is just trip. Like Corey Souza's doing a bunch right now.
Yeah.
I let him ride one in Sturgis a couple years ago. He didn't say a word. He came back. He said, man, that's a badass bike. He was gone a while. And then fucking all of a sudden I see him buying all these parts from me and I couldn't be happier.
I think it's probably exciting for a builder too to kind of have a new canvas to work with.
You know what? You could do it however you want. You have to do it like mine. You know what I mean? You could do a bitchin' gas tank on it. We just came out with all the stuff for the Evos. So now you could go grab a Evo for $2,000. You know what I mean? Put a suicide shift on it and do, carbs and all the crazy chopper stuff. And I'm hoping that brings kind of back the chopper in a way.
Well, it's smart too because with the prices of Harleys getting so high, the used market is fucking blowing up. Dude, I know that Softails you can get like a nice 06 Deluxe or something for like $4,000, with like less than 10,000 miles on it, all over the place.
And the Evos, you can get them for
cheaper. Yeah.
Unfortunately, Harley threw a wrench in my deal because after 17, they fixed it. So now they ride good. So what we can do is we can do the neck, the fenders, and make it look just like it, but with the shocks hidden. Which, there's no reason for me to make a dirty tail out of a new one because all you're going to get is a different look.
It was weird when they did the Softails. They like pissed off both sides of the fence. You pissed off they pissed off the people that love the Softail style, the Viklas and all that type of shit. And then they pissed off all the Dyna guys because they called it a Softail. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't lower with that.
You're talking about off the new ones?
Yeah, off the new platform.
Oh, yeah.
You can't lower the bike as much. You have to do some major trimming and cutting to get it to lower down like you can an older Softail.
Yeah.
So
they should have kept the Dyna stuff going. You know what I mean? That improved it or whatever. And then, obviously improving the Softail was a good idea, making it ride good.
Well, they took the two shittiest riding bikes, which is the Dyna and the Softail, and they made them one of the best riding bikes, but, called it a Softail and made it to where you can't lower it very much. You know what I mean? So
they're weird.
Yeah.
That's another thing, dude. Harley doesn't really work with anybody. Like, that's why I think Indian's ahead, because they'll work with you. They'll send you a bike. They want you to customize it. They sent me those Indians to race. I made them to race bike. They've done some things. They do some stuff with Carrie Hart. Harley thinks that they're so above everything. Well, they better wake up because Indians coming, sneaking right up on their ass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that their first push was trying to keep that nostalgic Indian style, and it wasn't.
That didn't work.
That Art Deco thing didn't fucking work. This Dick Tracy shit doesn't look good in our era,
Yeah, and I made a bunch of bitchin' parts, but I had to kind of still stay with that design, and it helped, but it didn't.
Like the old one you did, I remember it was like the tan, like flat tan, it had the black flames on it. Like that, like tracker style bike was pretty badass. Like I feel like Indian has it kind of. They're on the right path with those bikes, but when it comes to their touring looking bikes. It's like they're stuck looking through Harley's notebook. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. I'm not a huge fan of I think the front ends of the bike look good, but that underneath the battery, you got this fucking looks like a suitcase of storage, and it's just like I don't know what's in there. It's just a lot of space.
No, it's a weird. It's kind of like a Victory. They ride good though. I think they're going to really hurt Harley when they come out with that fixed fairing bike. It's got that Scout motor in it all beefed up. That Scout motor's a monster.
For real?
Oh, yeah. I had that Scout here when they sent it to me. I was doing burnouts out in the parking lot. As long as I had the balls to hold the throttle open, that thing would burn the tire.
Nice.
I was jumping it. I built a ramp out front and I was jumping it. There's videos of it. That's why my back's all jacked off.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So you did that. That's probably like 2015-ish, 16.
We had the Biker Battleground show on History Channel, and that was my opportunity to introduce the Indian. You know what I mean? Everybody else on there, I don't know what they got out of it, but I introduced my parts on national TV, so I thought that was pretty smart marketing-wise for me, you know?
Yeah, that was one thing, we were talking about that biker battleground thing. I thought it was cool. It was something different, but like you were saying, it just didn't get it's like it got the traction after they shut it down, I guess.
History Channel wasn't the place. It needed to be on Discovery or somewhere else. Because History wants to teach you something, you know, where this gold came from or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So History was a shitty choice. Before that, before the Choppers died, I did the Chopper Challenge, and I built that bike for Seether, the rock band. You're looking at it anyway, and I won that whole thing. I beat a bunch, Cole Foster, a whole bunch of big builders, and I thought, man, I'm gonna have to hire a bunch of people, and I finally, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was right when it died. I never got one build off that deal, and it was 10 episodes on CMT, and there were some badass bikes on there.
Man, you look at all like the Motor Trend TV, and there's so many channels geared towards the automotive thing, but it's like people are scared to really put motorcycles on there. I don't know what the fuck it is, dude. Do you have any insight on that?
Yeah, because Discovery's failed. History failed, you know, with our show. Discovery's failed a couple times. You know what I mean? They're failing right now with OCC.
Yeah,
bringing them back, but you know, they took those hipsters and made that show, and then they did that biker. It was called Biker Live or something.
Yeah,
you had to hashtag in who you wanted to, you know. So if they would have took a radical shop and did a bitchin' show, then it would have took off, you know. And then other shows would have sprouted off it. But these people at History Channel, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know our world, so they don't. They're, you know what I mean? It's got to be something real for it to work. Like the old Chopper. You know, what was it called? The old biker battle. You know, the original. The Motorcycle Mania
stuff that Jesse did back in the day, and then the Biker Build-Off series. Like, those things were badass, and they were very primitive in nature of what they were. It wasn't like some drawn-out, overproduced kind of thing, but it was, you know, it just sucks because it's like nobody's even trying to think of something that could be a new direction. You know, it's like when you start talking to producers and shit, like they're stuck in like... looking for, okay, well, who did it and who did it work for? Let's mimic that instead of just being innovative, you know?
Agree. What we have working right now is we did 6, if you go to Flippin' Dirty Bird on our Facebook, there's 6 episodes, and out of the 6 episodes, 2 bikes get built. And each episode's a car. So what we thought was we could use the car sponsors, you know, and then flip it around for the next season and have more bike sponsors. Because now that the magazines are gone and stuff, the best place to advertise is social media to spend your money. And once those shows air, they stay there forever. So, you know, we've been talking to Indian and Harley and whatever, trying to get, you know, some money out of them. And so we could make the bike the A story. So, I
mean, I think it's, if anybody's gonna be able to pull it off, it's a guy like you, man, like with this kind of,
tough. It's a,
you know, grind. You got the personality for it.
It's a grind, buddy. It's a stupid grind.
I mean, you started doing all the stuff with Richard Rollins. I mean, how was just being in that fucking scene, that guy, you know what I mean? Like, it's got to be surreal in a sense.
Well, he actually owns part of this Facebook show that we're doing. He's cool. You know, he's going 100 miles an hour every direction. I don't know how the fuck
he does it, man.
I don't know either. But he's still involved with this show right now that we're doing. So
yeah, I remember what he did back in the day. You know, being from Dallas, you'd hear about this guy. It's like, yeah, he's got a film crew and he's just paying them to come around and do these shows and stuff. And then next thing you know, he built, like, he wasn't like some guy they found. Like, he like forced it down the throat of these people and said, look, man, I got this fucking concept, this premise. You know, and I thought, you know, I don't know the guy. I've never met him, right? Live in Dallas, but I'm not like hey man, you know, like I'm me and you're you and we should know it, you know what I mean? So but when he did the podcast with Joe Rogan, and man, like it was real insightful hearing like his story and kind of how he took it. And I was like, fuck man, like that's really dope. Like it made me respect the guy a lot more.
Yeah, he's a marketing genius. You know, and he's got people behind him now and everything. I mean, he's a lot of people think he's a douchebag or whatever, but a lot of that's acting.
Dude, no matter the bigger you get, you're gonna be a douchebag to somebody.
Douche
you know
out,
what I mean? This is how it works. You end up.
People are probably listening right now, going, douche.
Yeah, probably.
Shope's a douche.
They man, the good. I I feel like when you're on like Facebook and YouTube is where you get the most shit talking from people.
Right.
Like I felt like Instagram, like you might get, I mean, you got quite a few followers, so and you put a lot of content out that's kind of asking a question to people.
Right.
And so you're always going to get opinions.
Oh yeah.
That's probably the one thing that most people hate to get on social media is other people's opinions about your work and your style.
And just say, hey, you know.
Yeah.
Because you feel like saying, hey, fuck you. Like a lot of time I'll type out, hey, why don't you get off my fucking thread or whatever. And then but by the time I'm done typing it, I just delete it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's, you know, they get on with this stupid shit. And then I look them up first and I see they don't even have a bike.
Yeah.
They're stuck somewhere snowed in Montana or some shit. You know what I mean? They're just some jack-off trying to get a reaction out of me. And I don't know. I'm not falling for it very much anymore.
Yeah, it fucking sucks, man. Yeah, so, I mean... So when you came to Phoenix, man, like, was it a quick jump into doing this bike stuff, or did you kind of bounce around trying to build something? Or?
No, I was doing some choppers for a few people, and I'd hit all the shows and the dirt lots, and it was a grind. And what happened is the economy fell, and and this is the true story, dude. There was a guy, he lives here in town, his name's Doug. He's a hamster, Doug Eggleston, okay? And Yaffee will tell a different story, but he's full of shit. Okay, so Doug had this street glide. It had a 21 or 23-inch dirt bike front wheel on it. It was raked out and had a Mexican blanket on the seat. And this is when everything died. And I said, hey, Doug, let me take that for a ride. It was up at the Hideaway. So I rode it, you know, and it was heavy in the front. And I was like, So I went and bought a brand new street glide from Hacienda Harley. And I told my wife, I go, this is my last idea. If this don't work, we're done. I'm going to have to go do drywall or I don't know what, you know, something. Strip at the old folks' home.
Yeah.
So I cut the fender. I cut the neck off. You know, Doug gave me some advice. I cut the neck off. I raked it out for the 23. There was actually someone that would made me a 23, a billet 23. And...
were the tires for those?
Yeah, we used a dirt bike tire.
A dirt bike tire, okay, yeah.
At first. And then or V-Rubber might have just made the tire. I can't remember. But Yaffee didn't have nothing yet. No one did. There was nothing cut. Okay, nothing that was for the public. So I rode the bike down to the billet barn, and this other guy, Brian, it turned out to be Hatred later.
Yeah.
Okay, he built a bike at the shop with me. Him and I both built our own bikes our own way. So I got it in Hot Bike. I'm skipping ahead. That was the first stretch bagger to get in Hot Bike magazine, and that helped it a lot, you know, Jeff Holt. But I cut the fender off, you know, stretched it, you know, out of metal, stretched the gas tank, cut the saddlebags and stretched them down, made the side covers flare out, and, you know, did all that stuff. I got a picture of the bike. It's out there. I'll show you. But, and Brian did his all flat gray with a bunch of points and stuff on it. It looked cool too. And we rode him down to the billet barn. Yaffee was there. He goes, I just put an 18 on or 21 on my road glide. If it rides shitty, I'm going to go back to the 18. He looked at our stuff and said, that shit's never going to work. And Myron was like, the owner was like, wow, this is cool. And everybody was around it, dude. It was cool. You know, it was just like, wow, this is
different.
Yeah. So we started taking it around to a couple shows. People were freaking out. And this old man told me, he goes, just go for it. He goes, when the economy's bad, people will spend money on things they're not supposed to. Because that makes them feel good. They'll go into debt. You know, they'll buy parts for their bike because they're down. They're miserable. You know, they don't. And so when he said that, I was like, fuck, I'm just going to try it. So I started making saddlebags, fenders, whatever. And then, you know, Yaffee and the rest of them were right behind me. You know, they seen what was going on. And Paul did have a clock, actually. And Paul had Bagger Nation, and they had the little trinket, you know, the billet stuff and some cool little parts, but nothing radical, nothing that was going to make people just go, wow. You know what I mean? Then we did the Dirty Money bike, and like you said, I showed up in Sturgis with that thing, and people just, even the chopper guys were just like, holy fuck,
yeah, dude, it was like a fucking rock concert on wheels, dude. That
thing, everywhere I went, it was like air it down and just, everybody just be like, holy shit, and it just kind of went from there. You know, pretty cool, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that, like I said, that area, I mean, we were in Dallas, you know, we didn't really have... you know, we had Pickard, but at the time, Pickard was still kind of learning, getting into
copying people's stuff.
Wheel stuff and everything.
Him and Chris from Misfit. Yeah, they were together then, and then they had a falling out, and Chris went and did Misfit with those Canadians.
And then, you know, it was just it it blew up fast, man.
Yeah.
Like I remember it was like this. I think I want to say 2012 was kind of like where the 26s. Like you had a couple bikes that were badass. I remember that year. I think you did a Galveston rally, and that's when Charlie Hunnam rode the green 31.
Yeah, that was the first 30 street glide.
Yeah, so I mean, like the 30 was like out there, fucking way out there. I remember like that one right there. I remember when you had that one done.
No, that was one of my spaceships.
Yeah, but that
I took that to Galveston. Remember, I could start it, so people would be sitting there on the center stand and no one around it, and I could automatic start it from a button in my hand. And then it'd be idling, and then I pushed another button, it would start throwing flames. You know what I mean? Yeah. I had fun with that thing. They'd jump back and go, what the hell? You know what I mean? Looking around, you know, and then all of a sudden the thing started blowing fire out of it and fucking...
You know, it's kind of bringing me to kind of a thought, man. It's like, when you're in like your shoes and doing this kind of shit and you're going to these fucking rallies and stuff, it's like that becomes your bike life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the next event, the next rally. Yeah. It's like
burned out on it, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to, you know, because I've always been hard on people that trailer bikes and shit, you know, and I know that certain shops, especially when you have an 18-wheeler that you got to go take parts and make money, but, you know, there's something I always thought it was cool is like when you go back to those roots of like what made you want to get on bikes.
Right.
And you see, I mean, I talk to a lot of fucking people, man, and I've seen people that are burnt out on this shit.
Yeah.
And it's because they look at bikes like they hate them now because of all the drama and the fucking you stole this part, I stole, you know, all this kind of shit that goes on. And but now looking at it, like I feel like it becomes like the next rally. Right. And then you kind of get trapped in this fucking, you know, how do you have fun on a place like a 5 square mile place that you can only stay at because of your business that you're showing off or whatever the case may be. It's not like you can just be like, fuck, all right, I'm going to go ride the whole coast, be back in a day or two. You guys run this shit, you know?
Well, this last year, and I'm probably not going to even vend at Sturgis again.
Yeah.
I'm done with it. But I rode to Sturgis last 2 years, and then I stayed there. I rode around. My wife flew in, and we rode around and actually checked out some sites and went to some places, and we actually had a good time. And I think I did just as much doing that. I rode that fat tired dirty tail, and everywhere I went, oh, John Shope, let me get a picture or whatever, let me check out the bike, you know. And that's exciting for me. Who am I, dude, for someone to ask me for a picture?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, there's some of the other builders, like, you know, it's like it's a burden to them. You know, you better grasp that, man. That's your people. You know, that, you know, you can't be down on them or, you know, I mean, even if someone interrupts a conversation and asks for a picture, even though I should say, hey, man, can't you see I'm talking? I'll stop and take the picture with them. You know, or if they want to shake my hand or whatever, I mean, it's an honor. I mean,
it's one of those things, man. You got to be kind of good at that shit, man. You got to learn to be good at that too.
But again, if someone flips me shit, I'm quick to tell them to go fuck themselves and, you know, go, I'm a man, dude. I'm not a bitch, you know, and that's the thing. I can't be. Yeah. I got to be able to look myself in the mirror, and that's.
Not feel like you sold yourself out and shit.
Sold out for, you know. But I mean, I don't know. It's. Like I said, the dirty tails are doing good right now. Our bagger parts are still doing really good. We still have quite a few builds, you know, going on. And I got the cars. I'm actually opening a solar company here, which is off the subject, but I feel like that'll lighten my stress level. Yeah. Like when I have, you know what's weird is, I don't know if this has happened to anybody else listening, but my back was so bad for so many years. I was just in a bad mood. Every move I made, my back would hurt, and it was just hard to really be in a good mood. So I get my back fixed, and all of a sudden this anxiety comes in, bro, and just rips whatever out from under me. I mean, I was like in my bed crying, and nothing was wrong. Yeah, I should have been the happiest person in the world. But man, I got some shit shorting out in my head. So anyway, they put me on some, I don't know what it is, serotonin thing or something. And I'm still not, I'm never going to be right because I'm a crazy fucker, but you know what I mean? At least I can deal with the day-to-day stuff, you know, without, but it was weird. You know?
It's got to be a strain on your mind, like growing to the size that Dirty Bird did, you know, and then maintaining it.
I was never in the moment. Like I could be sitting here talking to you, and I don't know how your mind works, but I'll be thinking about, oh man, I got a paint job, I got to be over here, and I got to be, but I can still engage with you. But I'm not in, like right now we're talking, I ain't thinking about nothing else. You know what I mean? I think it's cool that all these people are going to listen to this, and hopefully they like me. That's cool. If they don't, well, that's cool too.
Hey, fuck 'em.
You know what I mean? Yeah. There's a bunch of hack ass builders I want to jab right now, dude. But I'm not going to do it. No. I mean, there's some pieces of shit, dude, and I don't lie, man. I've helped a lot of people, and there's a dude from Canada. They can figure out who this is. That was probably one of the worst. Big money clown.
When you kind of saw that, it became like, I was actually joking about this with somebody.
They were jumping in for the wrong reason.
Yeah, it was like
heroes.
I've got like some younger trauma from this world where like I would always associate. My listeners know about this, but I would associate big wheel baggers and like big dually trucks, and I'd see the dually truck. I'm like, that dude's a fag. You know what I mean? Like, it's just part of the kit.
We don't want the baggers. Yeah, or like the Dyna guys. You got the Dyna Bro kit. Have you seen that?
Exactly.
The flipped up hat, the long socks. I think it's funny, but I mean, I think Dynas are badass. I just never saw a way for me to make money with them.
Yeah, it's
Crucy and them. They that's lane splitters. That's their fucking deal. I would never jump in on their gig.
It felt like there was like this tier system with like showing off your money in the big wheel bagger world, where you had like, okay, you had a badass bike, then you had a sick ass truck and trailer, then you had a sick ass truck and trailer, another bike, and a speedboat, and then you just bought a company. It was a bagger company, you know what I mean? Right. So it was like this tier system of fuck you money.
Fucking shit bags.
Yeah, it's like, oh well, I got a cool bagger. Well, I own a whole shop that makes baggers. Like, it was the next thing in line of buying.
I don't know how to change a battery, but I own that shop.
Yeah, that's my brand.
Yeah, that's my brand. Yeah. Dude, I feel like it's already reeled back quite a bit. There's still some dudes that want the 32s or whatever. I've never built one. Yeah. And I never will. I don't care how much anyone comes. The biggest I've ever done is a 30, and I haven't done a ton of those. And I did them because I had to. When the thing went from 26 to 30, I could either die or go with it. When I went to 32, I just said I'll die.
Yeah, but when it kind of looked like when it went to the 32, it was already on the. It was kind of, that's when the spaceships happened, man. Because to put a fairing on a 32, like it had to be a huge motherfucker.
Yeah, you got to be like an NFL, like Lupe, Lupe.
Yeah.
So he's this tiny little dude. He's a good guy, and he builds these giant bikes for these customers, and then he rides them. And when he rides them, he looks like this little kid on this big giant bike. But, like if you had like Shaq on one or something, if you had Shaq on a 26, with 4-inch bags.
It wouldn't look right.
It wouldn't look right. But if you had Shaq with a 32 with some big old bags or whatever, he'd be king shit. I mean, it would fit him. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's kind of, you're right. I don't know. I felt like it had to go all the way to what it did to reel back. It ain't going to die. No one's going to go back to no hardtail choppers, dude. I mean, there's going to be a few dudes, but it's not going to, the bagger... Big wheel bagger thing's never going to die, and I'll tell you another reason. Just like hot rod cars, no one's ever going to go back to 14-inch wheels. Yeah, you know what I mean, on a Chevelle or whatever. Yeah, if you're doing a stock, numbers matching car, sure, you're going to put the rallies on, but otherwise, you're going to put 20s on it. You know what I mean? With 18s on the front, you're going to slam it down, Pro Tour it or whatever. And that's badass. You're not going to donk it out and put 30-inch.
It's created a look that's kind of a staple of that vision now. So if you're building a bagger to cruise, then a 26 or 23 is always going to look sexy. Yeah. It's.
And if you roll in with some and you got an 18 on there or whatever, or even 21, you're not going to get much out of it unless it's a performance bagger, and then it's got to have all the Olin shot. It's
got the kit too.
Yeah, the kit. The bagger.
The bro kit.
Yeah, what do we call it? The bagger bro kit.
There you go. We call them bagger dads.
Here's what scares me about the baggers. Is they're not made to corner and fucking handle. Okay, FXR was made to run like that, and you could make a Dyna handle. And these guys are putting all this crazy horsepower to the bikes. You can go straight and weave in and out of cars and stuff, but if you get down in the canyons, I don't care if you got upside down forks, whatever shocks in the back, and your trick levers and all your shit, that's still a touring bike, dude. You can kill yourself on that bike easy. And that's what scares me. And I got some friends that are.
Well, see, my bike's like that, and I've been pushing myself. And what we've done with this podcast is actually we talk to people about this and like, look,
be careful, bro. Just know the bike's limit.
Yeah, we've been pushing people to invest equally in their skill of riding, like doing some of those track days and things like that. You learn cornering and exit speeds and those kind of things. And I mean, you're never going to be able to rail a corner
like a GSXR
exactly
or whatever. Yeah,
but it's still like you're
pushing.
Yeah, it's like you're never going to get the power out of a bagger that you could out of a GSXR. Yeah. But for some reason, it still feels good to do it on a bagger or a fucking Harley.
Yeah.
So
but just. You guys doing it, man. Know your limits, man. Don't try to run with that crotch rocket. I mean, just you know what I mean. You're gonna blow everybody else away on the baggers, and that should be good enough.
Yeah,
don't kill yourself.
Yeah, we know quite a few people in the nation that fucking ride pretty good on baggers and stuff, but it is it's getting big now. It's starting to get a lot bigger, and a lot more people are taking Harleys on tracks. It's becoming a whole movement of things. So. It's interesting to say the least. Yeah, but the main thing that I think is cool about doing performance baggers is the fact that, the things that when I rode my big wheel across country, the things that kept me on the side of the road was air ride shocks going bad. Never happened to me, but I've seen it happen with people having big stereo shit and wires frying
or you go into the corners and all you're thinking about is I don't want to scrape that paint off.
Yeah.
So you need a medium-sized bag, dude. You know what I mean, where you can still enjoy yourself. It got to where you were scrape. You try to turn left a little right. You're scrape, and like you said, the air ride, and you can't see over the fairing. Yeah. I mean, come on.
So, I think that the fun thing about it and the thing that it's not that it's ever going to be as big as the big wheel thing. We've already, it's nothing really ever will be.
Yeah.
But
or the chopper thing in its time.
It's just going to be like people can spend some money and they're going to it makes the bike ride better. Yeah. So, it doesn't have the curb appeal yet of like that bike sitting on the fucking corner when you're walking up to a spot, but it's starting to kind of have an appealing look to it now that people look at them more, and it's starting to, it's an acquired taste kind of thing, I
mean, the regular person that walks by that knows nothing about bikes is going to stop at the spaceship and go, oh my God, that's so crazy. They're going to walk right by the performance bagger. But really, who cares what they think? The guy that stops at the performance bagger and starts looking at all the stuff and says, man, this thing's built to boogie.
So we have a good friend that's been kind of riding with us, and he's all into riding bikes. And he's actually got a lot of your parts on. We call him Big Wheel Cody, and he's got your full one of the recent ass ends that you did, side covers, front fairing, he's got your whole kit on it, right? We painted it, and he rides the fuck out of this bike, 30-inch wheel, and we would always fuck with him because he was one of us like Dynabro guys on the big wheel, and he'd keep up. I mean, he couldn't hit the corners with us, but he would keep up and stuff, and then it was always funny because we go to parking lots. And all day we could tell he's like wanting to be us on our bikes and the way we're riding. And then we go to the parking lot and every fucking car, every kid, they're taking pictures with his bike and shit.
And he's king.
Then he's the king,
king of the lot. But those bikes are cool that if you could have two.
That's what he does now.
Yeah, if you could have one that you could go out and rip, and then you had one that you could cruise with the old lady maybe and take a bar hop with and shit. Then have the big stereo.
Yeah, so he ended up getting one of the new Softails, a lowrider, and then did it all up, Dynabro shit. And he rode to Cali with us. We do an annual trip to San Francisco and back. And he rode, man. He's into it, man. He's got the bug now. He wants to ride everywhere. So
that's awesome. I hope these younger kids, dude, get into it too. That scares me. Like my son, he loves to wrench on shit. He's got that Charger. He's only 13, but he races flat track. And I brought him up. When he was 2, he was on a quad doing donuts, and I mean, my other 2 are kind of more gamers. They don't know yet. Cash keeps asking me, where's my dirt bike? Well, I bought him a couple and he didn't ride them. I'm going to get him another one, try one more time. But, Cole is just a motorhead. Bikes, cars, whatever, supercars, whatever it is, muscle cars, like, I keep trying to trade him out of that Charger. And I'm
trying to barter with your kid.
Listen, I put a 71 Challenger 383 4-speed car in front of him. I said, "You want this? This Hemi orange." He's all, "Nope, I'll keep a Charger, Dad." And then I had a Corvette with flared fender that was all tricked out with a dual quad sticking out of the hood that was black. I said, what about this? Because I don't really care, but I know he won't. But I put some cars in front of him, and he just will. That Charger, 68 black Charger, he will not. That's his baby.
That's nice.
I know.
That's a badass car, though, to have.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Dude, man, you got to get him clipped in high school, man.
I know. Well, believe me, this ain't his daily driver. And then he's talking about he wants to put a 5-speed in it. It's got automatic, reverse man, whatever. Pretty badass training. I said, no, dude, you're keeping the automatic. Maybe after a few years, then we'll put the stick in. Because last thing I want is him to go wrap that thing up, and he will wrap it up.
Yeah.
He's got the speed bug.
That's a speed bug. Well, that's cool. So you said he's kind of doing into the flat track shit. I mean, that shit is getting big, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to Mama Tried on that Indian, and I raced with Kerry Hart and them, and I got bumped off by one of Roland Sands. I got a good start, dude. I was like in second or third place, and we came out of the third turn, and I don't know. I got to rewatch the video again, but it's racing, and he hit me. It was the worst wreck I ever had, dude. They had to replay it. We need to go look at the carnage. I mean, that bike went all the way down the track, and those Indians, dude, do not give a fuck. They are heavy ass bitches, and it was a Scout, and man, after that, dude, I barely could get it. I mean, I made it home on the airplane, but I was like, you know what, I can't. It was on concrete.
Was this the one you were talking about? Were you kind of?
No, this was just the other day.
Oh, okay.
This was me.
You didn't learn the lesson last time.
This was after surgery, But I race the vintage bikes here in Phoenix, and he does too, vintage flat track. But those big hooligan things, dude, those are monsters.
Roland Sands has been putting in a lot of effort with that stuff. He did some real badass thing in Tulsa. Oh yeah, he's some event.
They're doing all kinds of crazy cool stuff. But them racers, dude, are ex-pro street. They're you can't. It's not hooligan anymore. It's full on race.
It's kind of like they're out there. It's like Mad Max shit. Everybody's trying to bump each other off.
Yeah. It used to be a bunch of just regular guys that were out there on what they built, their Sportsters or whatever. That was hooligan. They need to have that come back too, because that was comedy. Yeah, you know what I mean? And they're pretty fast too. But then when the pros got in and Roland brought in the heavy stuff, it changed, and I can't. Yeah, I should have got in it right at the beginning. I would have did pretty good.
Yeah, it seems like a fucking crazy thing to get into. Yeah. I suck at anything like on dirt. Like I've never been able to ride dirt bikes. I grew up on sport bikes, so when you learn to ride on the street before the dirt, as soon as you ride on the dirt, you're like, what the fuck, man? Like, it's all over the place underneath you. Loose, so.
Yeah, I did dirt first, then streets. Streets this ain't nothing.
So what's some of the, like, over the years of doing all this stuff, like what's your most funnest place you've ever been for rally ride wise or bike events? Or like, I mean, you've done a lot of stuff with Eddie Trotta too, like you guys have been good friends forever. Like, what's your fondest memories of this like bike thing?
I think in the beginning, my favorite place to go was Reno.
Mm-hmm. Street Vibes.
Yep. And then the guy that runs that event hates me or something, or I don't know. For some reason, I can't. They'd put me right by Ron Sims before, and it was just he'd give me a free spot and everything. I had my semi, and man, they'd let you idle down the strip. Just everybody. So you got to show off your shit, and then you could go ride around Lake Tahoe and up to Carson City, and they just ruined it, man. You can't go down the strip no more, and that guy won't ever give me a booth there. So, but my fondest stuff was those Street Vibrations, long time ago.
It's a good place, man. We actually went through Reno on this last trip to Cali, and a good friend of us lives up there, and we crashed with him, and dude, right there, you're in Lake Tahoe. Some of the best riding, man. Yeah. Right there, all around that fucking lake, man.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's probably my earlier fondest stuff or whatever.
Yeah, I want to say because that bike, I remember we were talking on the phone. So you were selling that to some dude who had it up there, and me and my boy Steve were up there hanging out with you a little bit.
And that dude from Canada was with me.
Was he? Oh yeah.
Yeah, he had that knuckle thing. Yeah,
How was the hot bike tours like with your experience of doing those things?
Dude. That was so fun. The first few years, it got, for whatever reason, it got lame as it went on. It wasn't as much of riding. Like the first 2 years, we rode 1,000 miles. I mean, it was badass. If your shit broke down, you needed to get it fixed. If you didn't show up at the next stop, you were done for that day. So it was some tough.
Yeah.
We went through rain. I remember riding with Yaffe and Clock and a bunch of other ones, and all I could see was Yaffe's tail light. We were flowing down the freeway, dude. It was raining so hard. We were pouring water out of our boots at the end of the thing, and I was riding that Chrome King or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I won it every time I did it. I got, I did it.
All the rings, yeah.
I did it 4 times. I mean, I beat Ballistic's hubless wheel. I beat.
I used to like watching the shit talking that you and Joey Hensley used to do. The backyard backs.
I thought he was going to get me that year with that.
Because he did the American flag shit.
Oh my god, dude! How can you not vote for 9/11? And it was 9/11 weekend. Kendall Johnson told me, he goes, John, he goes, and I had that Gold King, which was just a monster, dude. And Covington actually had that Cha-Ching bike, which was just sick.
Jerry's bike was sick, man.
Oh my god. And man, I don't know. And they announced my name, and and I won, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I beat that bike. Not that his bike was cool, but it wasn't. The 9/11 thing was genius.
Yeah.
Because it's people's choice. So.
Yeah, he picked all the clickbait things.
Oh yeah, he's definitely a smart guy. Joey's smart.
What do you think about the industry when it's kind of how it's transitioned to more of a stereo game and not so much of a biker thing anymore?
I mean, maybe that's great for the spaceships, because now you can just bar hop with your spaceship and you can do your audio thing. I mean, anything that keeps it going, I think, is good. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I'm making speaker lids, pods, lowers. I don't sell any audio stuff, but I make all the stuff where they can put the big stuff in. I mean, it's either that or die. You know what I mean? So. Yeah,
that's one of the things, because it seems like it took some of the guys that were in it for the wrong reasons. Because I'm not a fan of it, but I understand staying relevant in it, like you're saying with doing stuff. But I'm more like. I think it's cool if you build this shit and you ride them like you did on the hot bike tour. Yeah. It's badass when you see someone take something that most people are like, fuck, I'd be scared to touch it. And you're like, fucking doing burnouts down the street. That's cool to me. That's biker shit. Yeah. You know what I mean?
In my opinion, the only reason one shop in particular is still in business is because of the audio stuff.
Oh, a lot
if that would have tanked, they would have went under.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just seen the opportunity. I seen, you know what I mean? If I do these lowers or if I do some lids or whatever, I can, we sell quite a bit of audio parts, for those baggers, and a lot of them they're just putting a few things on. They're not doing the competition, stuff, which.
That competition shit seems crazy.
You can't even ride them, dude. They're so heavy. You can't even get them on the freeway. There's so much weight in there with those subs and all that stuff, and they're making the bags out of wood. I mean, I'm not into it, but.
Yeah, I hate being that guy that's like.
I don't want to hate on them either, though.
Yeah, I get it, man. You don't want to hate it. Whatever makes them happy, and it's still on a bike, I guess it's cool, but you almost don't want them to have a voice in the world. Like, you guys just do your little gay shit over there. You know?
Right. That's what you want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the same thing with there's a lot of people that hate the big wheel bikes, you know what I mean? And, the Dyna guys or whatever, like, fuck those things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and it's, I mean, I don't say fuck those Dynas, you know what I mean? It's, if they knew more, like if they came and ran down the canyon with me once on one of those big wheel bikes, not a spaceship, but a 26 they ain't gonna lose me.
Yeah.
I'll be right there, or I'll crash.
You'll crash.
No, but I'm saying when we get done, they'll have a new respect for that bike with that 26 on it.
I think that most people it kind of becomes a cloudy with the bikes. It's hard to appreciate the art in the bike because some of the people on the bike kind of douched out things a little bit, or just not. I wouldn't even say douched out. It's just different culturally. You know what I mean? Like these kids on Dynas, they're way more influenced by the club culture.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Sons of Anarchy started that, dude.
Yeah.
Anyone that says it didn't is full of shit.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, I'm friends with a whole bunch of Hells Angels out of San Diego, and nobody rode those bikes except the Hells Angels. Those bikes on that show were given to them. Those were Hells Angel. Those were club bikes.
Yeah.
in the beginning, and that's what's just like when Arnold rode the Fat Boy in the Terminator. Everybody got a Fat Boy. You know what I mean? So don't fucking tell me, you douchebag Dyna guys, that the Sons of Anarchy didn't blow that industry up, because it did.
Yeah, it was. I think it was a chain of events with that, like the Sons of Anarchy thing, and then the unknown guys on there doing wheelies on the bikes and those kind of things. That it really it made the bike more appealing. It made Harley more appealing to the younger generation.
Yeah, they want a hot rod.
And, you know, and they can afford them, man. Yeah. Like, think about it. You can pick up a DX Dyna for fucking $4,000, and you know, if you know how to pop a wheelie, then you can fucking wheelie that motherfucker. So, you know, but it does kind of. The disconnected that I have a hard time trying to, because I do my fair share of joking around about shit, you know, but
I do too.
I just think that some of it is kind of laughable, but like I said, like the reason why I asked you to be on here is because I respected your building and your style of motorcycles. That's why I'm not asking certain shops that built fucking spaceships, because I don't know how to relate, you know.
All they did is look at my stuff or Yaffe's or whoever's and glassed up, you know, took our parts or whatever and glassed up some different shapes in them, and all of a sudden they're, you know, whatever, in the thing with us. And they never had choppers before. They never, you know, I've got an FXR, you know what I mean, that I wheelie and stuff, you know, but I don't make any parts for them because, let's face it, most of the guys that ride those bikes have no money.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't want to. But you know what? There was a niche for Boosted Brad, and you know what I mean, Lane Splitters, and some of these guys. Crucy has a nice little shop. You know what I mean? There is a niche for them. But you know what? I don't have to make everything. Oh, let me get in that. You know, I make a couple parts. I make a chin spoiler and a little license plate frame.
It feels like the FXR styling is more geared towards that early Nest look that you know, with the side covers and some of the fairings he made. It's just it's a less attitude style.
Right.
The bike itself is attitude in some kind of weird way. So like I noticed, like a lot of your styles, you would use like speed holes and different little louvers and all the crazy shit you would do, like the teardrop cuts on the fucking pipes. That fits that, but the Dyna scene, it doesn't really go into that thing the same way.
And there was no body parts for me to make, you know what I mean? I could have made an exhaust or whatever, but I just that's why I sat back with the Dirty Tails, dude. I just thought, you know, that Cholo style has never went out. You know what I mean? And if I could take that style, I'm not saying I invented that style, and put a touch of today on it with a 23 or 26, extend the fenders down. You know, they've been doing that too. I made those upswept fishtails, which fucking everybody loves. You know what I mean? The other ones, you scrape them everywhere you go. You know, and just my, and then when I got the bikes to ride better, that was just fucking, I mean, that
was the ice on the cake.
That shit's here to stay, dude. It's going nowhere. It might not be huge, but I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, you don't need it to
right be. Right now, Dana Hallberg's building one. Corey Seuss has built 3 or 4 of them. Dave Perowitz said, man, I want to build one of those Doity Tails. You know, he's got that Boston accent. John, I want to build one of those Doity Tails. And I'm like, all right, you know, and there's some other big builders, and when they build those, that helps me too, you know, because really that's my baby. You know, it's their bike, they built it, but that's, you know, the swing arm, me and Sideshow, you know, we have a lot of passion for that, you know, and that kind of revived me because I was burning out, dude. Every time I'd see a big spaceship pull in with some douche on it, I'd be like, oh my God, I just turned the other way. I'd be up there with Trask, you know, we'd be hanging out, and the dude would come by with his stereo cranked up, and fuck, man, almost lay it down or whatever, trying to park it. It's so heavy, and I just turn my head, and I'd be like, I started this deal, you know, and it just went to where I didn't want it to go.
Well, yeah, I mean, it kind of is that, man. I mean, think about how many dudes like look up to you and just want your kind of swagger in this bike world. That are kind of, that have jumped on the big wheels, jumped on these tile of bikes, and like, you could tell they got a little John Shope swagger in their step. You know what I mean? Like,
that's cool, dude. Fucking Jesse James hates me too. We don't like each other. You know, he'll text me every once in a while and say, "How's the spaceships?" You know, or whatever. He'd say something, and then I'll text back, "How's your back?" You know, because of the hardtail. Just a friendly joke, and then. Then the next text from me will be, my bank account's full. How about yours? You know, off the bikes. You know, and it's just a friendly. You know, I don't know if he hates me really, but we he don't like the big wheel.
He doesn't like baggers at all.
At all. So therefore, I represent that I guess to him. Hopefully, he likes my dirty tails. I don't know. But,
well, I mean, dude, it's just a style for this era, and I like what I was gonna say about the dirty tails.
I hope no one does a 30 on them, dude. Please,
probably not.
It's gonna look so stupid.
Yeah, with the rear wheel not being able to kind of
with no bags to balance it out. Please, you guys, don't do a 30. It's gonna embarrass me.
It's funny how like a nice looking Softail, a Dyna dude can walk and go, that's fucking clean, but then like it's like in their DNA to hate a big wheel bagger but then the Softail is kind of okay.
Do you think they like the dirty tails even though it's got the 26 on it?
I think my buddy Adam Garley, the one that he built that he brought to our bike night, and our bike night's nothing but like performance baggers and Dynas and Softails and there's no way 26
on it.
Yeah, his 26 is like,
which one is it?
It's the gold and black one that I painted, and he did swing arm. It's fucking beautiful, man. And like, there's just some bikes that you can't not appreciate what's been done.
Good. You know what's even cooler is a 23 on one. Mm-hmm. Like for the guys that just can't accept that 26. The 23 on the dirty tails, it doesn't ride as good because you just do rake trees, so it's still not, it doesn't have that bagger front end on it. But when it's laid down, like Covington did one with a 23, I'm getting ready to do one with a Magna Charger on it, pretty nasty, crazy one. But that bike looks, I mean, if you walk up to that and it's all laid down, it looks, that's the other thing too, is I don't do any lay frames. I've done a couple. They were never meant for the public. And when I brought that orange bike, remember, to Baddest Bagger and won it in Sturgis, 2010 or whatever. Well, no one could figure out how to get it to lift up. And it was so simple. All you had to do is lengthen the dampening rods in the front. And we used these, they were, I don't know what they were. They were like shock things that went inside there. Yeah. And then in the back, I went to Napa. Actually, this guy told me about them. And we got the Corvette shocks. Yeah. So that's how I got it to lay down on the ground.
Because those would collapse a lot more than traditional air kits.
And then Dirty Air started making. People started getting hip to it, making cheap kits. Dirty Air grabbed onto it, and then they made their own shock recently. I guess Firestone or whoever was making those. They made it where the bags would fuck up after a while.
Yeah, so that's what happened with me. Like me and my buddy.
They redid that band on the bottom. Yeah, they chumped it. I used to sell a shit ton of air rides. When I was kind of not necessarily building bikes, but when I was customizing a lot of stuff, I had my bagger that we rode cross country, and then I had another green one that was very similar. Yeah. And Dirty Air kits, and we sold a shit ton of them, but they had a bad batch for like 6 months. Yeah. Every fucking one was blowing and popping. I remember we were coming from Monument Valley on our way to Grand Canyon. And then if you have a lay frame.
I never got that far, 26, I never did air ride in the front because I wanted it to still handle good in the front. Not that the air ride in the rear made it handle good, but at least I had control in the front still. Yeah. But shit, I blew a shock and I had to tee it off to one shock. Yeah. And we were going to Vegas, right? So I teed it off to one shock, and not even 15 miles later, my buddy's shock blew and we had to tee his off. And we had to ride from that little split where you can go to Grand Canyon or go to fucking Flagstaff, ride from there to Flagstaff all the way to Vegas on one fucking shock each.
Surprised that didn't blow.
And we made it, and then Sean had some shocks there, so he welded them up for us, and we never had any issues again. But
if you don't weld up those eyelids too, they'll bust off. Exactly. That was the first thing that was happening, and then the bags later.
So basically with Dirty Air, they saw this happening and coming, and they were constantly sending new shocks. But for me, I mean,
he showed me the pile. Yeah. Hey, did you ever see the pile of the bad shocks?
So what I do respect about what Dirty Air was doing is that they stood behind them. They always had more shocks coming, but they saw what was happening, and they invested in creating something that could be something they could warranty. Yeah. Because it sucked for me as a salesman, because now on Saturday this dude's trying to go ride his bike, and now I got to go pick him off the side of the highway. He's pissed about his.
There goes a profit. You did it for nothing.
I get the shock back, but the labor, I don't get that. You know what I mean?
So Dirty Air makes our Dirty Tail kit.
Yeah.
They make the shocks. We make the covers that go over them, and we make a bracket. They send us the compressor, the valving, and I don't have no tank on it. The bikes are so light, it takes like 5 seconds there at the front. You know, I don't need to be Mr. whatever guy, and you know, I don't know if it's, but they've done good for me, and it allows me to sell those swing arms, you know, so guys can do them or whatever and build the bikes. So.
Those swing arms, they not the older ones like your shovel down there. Those came that way, right, with the rear shock.
Yeah, that shovel. All we did is cut it, and we re-angled the shock so it would lay down farther, and then I think we raised the fender up to get it to lay. That bike lays on the ground, and put a fail-safe on it.
Isn't it funny how like usually the Dyna guys are the same dudes that like lay frame trucks and big wheels on trucks, but for some reason it's not okay on a bagger.
Right.
It's kind of a catch-22 there.
Well, I'm afraid for people. If you don't know what you're doing or whatever, and that thing blows out, dude, your frame hits the ground or whatever, and I don't sell no lay frames. I think, in my opinion, laying it down on the center stand is, you know, it's 1.5 inches on the ground. What's the difference if it's laying on the ground or if it's on that little center stand? I mean, I think that's for safety reasons, and it don't look no better. Yeah, it's not going to change anything in that situation. So, it's crazy, man. But fuck, dude, you know, it's an interesting world. Like like if you would have thought back in 2007 and 8 and 9 and seeing where the industry went and seeing where it's at now, it's really hard to predict this shit, man. Well, think about this. If the bagger thing didn't come out when the economy died, what would have happened? Yeah. I mean, what was the next big thing to go for 10 years? Keep people in business is what it is. Yeah. What was there? What would replace that? I mean, that just, I don't know. I'm pretty proud of that too. You know? Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's perspective. So depends on how you look at that world. I mean, if anything, it helped prolong, you know, motorcycling. You know, like you were just mentioning, with products, with people being interested in getting on bikes. You have to buy a Harley. You know, Harley got sales out of it because to get you to do one, you had to buy a brand new or used Harley to do your big wheel. I mean, I don't know so much about the Road Glide prior to this, but it felt like it took the ugliest bike and made it the most attractive bike. Right. Somehow. Yeah. You know, because I never looked at a Road Glide and was like, that's sick looking. Yeah. But then you see like the bike you built and the bikes that were built on that platform, you're like, wow, like when you add that front wheel there, it really makes this bike whole and look good, you know? Because Street Glides always kind of had a more natural, good look to it. And then, like I said, when the bikes started getting the bigger wheels and the stretch bags, it kind of filled it out more. And then we went through a Road King phase. Yeah, Road Kings, who was that guy here that built that Road King? It was like one of the first short necks ever made, and it had like that cheetah print wheel or some shit. That's Doug. That bike was badass. So that's the guy that had the motocross wheel. Oh, he was the one? Yep. Okay. Yeah, and then Hatred did one off of it, or Brian from Hatred might have helped Doug with that. I think, honestly, I think Brian was looking at the sport bike necks and gave Doug the idea. I'd have to ask Doug, but I'm pretty sure that's where that came from. You know, the Hatred guy from the Biker Battleground? Yeah, he's here in town. He don't build no more bikes, but... What's he do now? I don't know. I think he flips cars, and he's into some boats and just does whatever. I don't really talk to him much. I seen him not too long ago. But yeah, I think Brian thought of that, and then Doug, you know, applied it or whatever to the bike, and then once Yaffe seen it, he sent it to HHI and had HHI start making them, you know, because HHI had them before American Suspension. Yeah, it was that was a good idea because they were always looking, how can we get this thing down farther? And then Brian said, well, those sport bike necks are only this tall. And then they were like, oh, there it is. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's how that happened right here in Phoenix. I remember. But I was like, damn, I wish I would have thought of that. Yeah. Damn it. You know what I mean? Sometimes things come and it's right there in front of you and you just don't see it. You don't see it. And, but just like that bagger, dude, I mean, I'm not going to say I thought of raking out the bagger because seeing Doug's bike, you know, it was just a Hellraiser. He's just a crazy dude thinking of shit. And when I saw that, all my ideas came, you know,
Sometimes you just need a spark like that.
Yeah, a spark. And Doug gave me that spark. And, there's a bunch of other dudes that'll talk and say they started the big wheel shit. They're fucking lying, dude. And you know what? If they want to think that, Yaffe or whoever, they're fucking lying and they know it. I could prove it with magazines and Doug. But in the end of the day, who cares? Because if Paul would have thought of it first, I would have seen it just like he did from me, and I would have jumped right on, and made my own way. We were all starving right then, you know what I mean? So Jim Nassy had some great ideas in the beginning.
Yeah.
It
was funny how it never really stuck real well in Cali, though.
Yeah, I never took off in Cali. I thought Cali would have blew up with it.
I mean, the crazy part about that, though, is like that's how I got big in Cali. Was going up there and working with Steve doing all the big wheel shit up there.
Oh, really?
But it was still small. I mean, you had Benford kind of doing shit, but Ness never wanted to touch it.
Yeah.
And then fucking, Sims never really. He's always been a HA.
He never evolved.
Yeah.
And there was a time when those Thug bikes were my favorite. You
Yeah.
know? Jim Nassy's bikes, those Afterlifes, and Sims Thug bikes. I don't remember what year it was, but those were my two favorite bikes. I wanted a Thug bike so fucking bad, dude. Those were just his Sims bikes were fucking sick back then. There was a lot of people coming out. I think Doug Idle or something was the stereo guy, but he made some really nice things out of Sacramento up there. Doug Idy or
something like that.
He used some of my stuff.
Yeah.
He'd cut into it and stuff. Yeah, he still does.
He still does.
Or he'd redo that same bike over and over.
100
and he'd
times,
keep winning. He'd bring it to the thing and he'd win again. Then he'd bring it to Arizona Bike Week the next week and no one even knows the same bike and he'd win again. He's a very nice guy.
See, I also see a lot of people, people reach out to me for paint work and stuff, like other shops that are kind of just now getting into the big wheel thing.
Yeah, they're late.
They're super late, but man, like it's kind of it's hard because when I talk to them and they're so excited about what they're building
and how it's going to change
like, oh man, once I build this and my shop's there, we're going to get all this work. And it's kind of like it's like you don't want to tell the kid there's no Santa Claus. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's it's like, fuck, I mean, if he can make some money still and he's going to do it, but man, it's hard, man.
Well, that's kind of me with the choppers, dude. I came into the chopper thing late, and I could never, even though I'd build shit that I thought was sicker than anybody's stuff. I'd look at everybody's stuff, and I'd just go beyond it. I never, unless you got on that show. If they would have put me on that show, I would have blown right up like Billy Lane or whatever, and been that was my goal, and then it just all died. When I got on that Chopper Challenge show, I was like, this is it, man! I can't believe it! Fucking all right. Finally. Then I won it, against 10 other big builders, and I was like, oh my god, dude, I got this! Let's roll. And then it just the economy died right after that, and I was like, no. But thank God I tried I had that last idea off of Doug, and I, cut that neck off and stretched all that shit out of metal and bonded it all up. And
so what do you think about, like, moving forward in, like, your career and this? I mean, is it leaning towards more just building all kinds of cool shit? Like, you've built some sick-ass rat rods and cars and that stuff. I mean, is it just basically putting your style of customizing on different
That's it, dude. For right now, the Dirty Tail thing's really going good. I think it's just getting started, and I think that people can buy the old Softails, and I think that's going to be my niche. I already have all the bagger parts, the molds and everything. So if that's people keep buying those, that's great. But I don't know where to go from here. I can't think of something else that's going to change. I think my Dirty Tails, I'm going to evolve with them still. I'm going to make different gas tanks, and I'm going to, make different stuff for them. And like I said, I went back in time. So now the Evo, you can do a Dirty Tail on the Evo. That I think now you could put a big ass, 131 in there and open belt drive and, just kind of choppery Dirty Tail, and the thing will ride good. And
that'd be sick.
I'm hoping that takes off, and you don't have to do a big wheel. You could do a 21, or you could do a 23 or 6. But I just think that I hope that carries me along here. I've made some parts for the new Softail. We got fenders. I'm waiting for HHI to make the neck kit. I've got some pipes coming out, some straight, some upswept, but D&D made them for me, so they're going to perform. Rusty made them. They're almost done, so I got some bitchin' pipes coming for the Softail, so I'm kind of just, I don't know where to go from here. The audio stuff, I just made the speaker lids, this and that, and the pods. I made bolt-on pods, 8-inch pods, for guys that don't want to mold them in. I think I come up with some pretty crazy stuff, but I honestly, I'm kind of stuck right now.
Well, I mean, obviously going to the Softails.
I need a home run. I don't want to do these parts, where like the cool thing about my new Softail chin spoiler is it works on all of them. It works for the dyno, and it looks slick on all of them. And that coil cover I made, I mean, that works on all of them. So
maybe I guess it's probably hard to maybe interject myself in your shoes. It's probably hard to think about what to do next when you've been a part of home runs before.
Right.
When it might be a time in our industry now where just getting fucking base hits is all you need to do, and you end up winning the game.
Right.
So it's like continuing to make small parts of small things, and then when you keep doing these things, it's the same thing with us in paint, man. I get on a wavelength and I fucking ride it out, and then I get tired of it. Yeah. Like, fuck, man, like this just and
it's getting played out.
And then
remember when I was doing the affliction shit? Yeah. That shit, man, everybody copied me. I'd go down one fork leg over to the other side, and back then, and right now you look at it, you're like, man, that shit's stupid. Yeah. But back then, dude, that shit was hot. And I mean, that was the hottest thing going. Everybody knew me when you seen why didn't you paint the other side of the bike? They'd say, why is only one side? They didn't, some people didn't get it, but that died out and we evolved into whatever. But the other, here's my philosophy. If I can get a little bit of, not everything, but
make a mark in everything.
Yeah, like if I can get my dirty tail stuff, that makes me this amount of money. I got my bagger stuff, that makes me this amount of money. It's not like I used to be the only guy with the baggers. And if I have my Indian stuff, that makes me a little money. Well, all those little bits of money adds up to a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And that's how I stay alive. Like I have the Indian parts, I have the dirty tail, Softail parts, and I have the bagger parts. And I have, so none of those are home runs right now. They're all base hits, like you said, but you combine them all together and it's a home run.
Yeah, I mean, the innovation comes, man. It really does. Yeah. It's just, it doesn't come as much when you're forcing it, because you give yourself anxiety and you give yourself you get fucking high. It's like, fuck, man, like it's something there. I feel it, but you're forcing something to happen that's not ready. Yeah. And it might be Harley releasing one of these new bikes that you just don't give a fuck about right now. Yeah. And then you walk by it at a dealership and you're like, fuck, man, I see where this can go now. Yeah. It's just about being aware of things. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think you'll be fine, man. You've got a style that and you stuck to it. You know what I mean? Right. You create a trend, like you said, with that affliction shit, and then that evolved into, there was that period of time in baggers where everybody was like I think Camtech did a fucking graffiti bike. Yeah, and then I did one. Yeah, and then it just becomes like the thing.
Loved it.
And then the Sinister bike, that fucking look, and or the Dirty Money. Fuck, how many people called their bike Dirty Money? Oh yeah, that was the thing, a joke going around, right? Yeah. Like every fucking had their version of a Dirty Money bike and stuff. You remember Alan from Bagger Concepts? Remember he had that
grumpy
pink one?
Motherfucker. Yeah. So that year it was between me and him who was going to win I had that orange bike. Yeah. That laid on the ground. It was between him and I as who was going to win the baddest bagger. Well, everywhere he'd go, he was having problems with it. So whenever I'd find an oil spot, I'd take a picture of the oil spot and I'd post it. I'd say, I can see Alan from Bagger or whatever has just been
Bagger Concepts.
Big old oil spot in the road. Bagger Concepts has just been here, and I'd text it to him. He'd get all pissed off, and then he never made it to the thing. Because it wouldn't run or whatever, and I won. And that year, me and my wife walked through the Full Throttle, and I swear, every bike either had all my parts on it or one or two of my parts. Yeah. There was not one bagger there that didn't have, except for maybe I think Dave DePore had an orange bike. I even might have had one of my parts, but they should have called it Dirty Bird's Baddest Bagger. I was so proud, dude. That was in 2010 or 11.
Yeah,
that was when that orange bike won, whatever year that was. And you know what? To win that Baddest Bagger then was an honor, because they didn't have a Baddest Bagger here, Baddest Bagger there, Baddest Bagger. It was the Sturgis. That was the big shot.
They had a few of them.
Yeah, they had that was.
And it felt like they judged them differently too. Then.
Yeah.
Once you said Lupe, and I love the dude. He's a nice guy, but dude, I remember going to some of these shows, and then literally everybody was being nice to me, waiting for the chance to drop that. Hey man, so I'm gonna vote for your bike. Can you vote for mine? I'm like, this is not how you do a bike show. And if you won that, if you win that, can you really feel proud of that?
Right.
Like if you say like you said, I won Baddest Bagger. I want to win Baddest Bagger. That
even the dudes that hate me vote, because that is the baddest bike. They do the right thing and vote for that, even though their bike, they know they're just like, God damn, that he did it again or whatever. Yeah. And that's how it should be. Not you vote for me, like you just said. That's the shit.
That's why I kind of didn't want to be in that fucking world anymore with the with that show stuff. And I did a fucking, what do you say? I was a judge a lot of times for Parawitz's paint show. Yeah. And I even, I had to stop doing that too, because there would be times they started, like the Don Olive and some of those guys out there. Those guys are really nice, but some of the paint work on their bikes was very messy. Yeah. And we're judging these bikes on paint jobs. Yeah. And I'm like, there's runs and fingerprints and I was like, this
dry spots.
This can't win a paint show. Yeah. And but they ended up giving it to him in one of the shows, and I hate to say it because I'm not trying to talk shit about those guys, but because they had the presence there, they were out there playing their music and being the guys. And I'm just like, man, that's not how you judge quality. Art. You know what I'm saying? This bike should have won because it's innovative. This dude took a paint job and fit it to a bike and made me want to look at this bike. Yeah. One of the best things I ever listened to, and it kind of goes against this, but I worked for the shop that painted Rick Fairless's bikes when Rick Fairless and Matt Hotch did their build off together. So I was wet sanding the frame. I didn't airbrush or do any of the custom paint stuff at the time, but I remember, that episode because right around the time I ended up learning how to do all the tie-dye. So I showed Rick Fairless the tie-dye thing on the bikes. Yeah. And then I tie-dyed 10 bikes for him and 10 trucks and never wanted to do that shit ever again. Yeah. But Matt Hotch said, you know what, when you build badass stuff, you don't want to cover all this metalwork up with fucking wild paint. Yeah. Which I agree. It worked on his bikes. Yeah. But then I look at this King on the wall and I'm like, that made it. Yeah. But Rick Fairless always kind of did that with his bikes. He'd have just a shit show going on, basically.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're building actually, Rick put one of his choppers in the museum at Sturgis. And I'm building a Dirty Tail Evo one to put in there.
That's cool.
Yeah, I got dual carbs off the Dirty Money and just some bitching shit for it, dude. I'm going to flake it all out and, it's going to sit there forever. So I'm not even going to make it run.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool, man. Getting into all that lineage stuff with talking about the Hall of Fame, you got into that, right? Yeah. I mean, dude, that's kind of a thing that I think a lot of people, I don't know how many people in this younger generation even consider that. Is it something? You know what I mean? And
well, when they called me about it, not to interrupt you, but he goes, "Hey, you're considered to be in the Sturgis Hall of Fame," and I was like, I don't even know what it was. I go, well, what's that? And they go, well, there's a lot of people in it. And I go, well, name some people in it. And he goes, first name was Arlen Ness. I was like, oh, are you shitting me? Mm-hmm. And then he said Evel Knievel. And I stopped him right then. I said, are you shitting me? Evel Knievel's in the Hall of Fame and I might be in there with Evel Knievel? I was so excited then. I told my wife, I said, dude, I might be in the Sturgis Hall of Fame. And then I kept telling everybody who's in there, you know what I mean? And, there's a lot of racers and, a lot of cool people in there. But I was like, wow. And then I did get inducted at Sturgis that year. And I was like, oh my God, wow. Yeah. That's me and Eddie Trotta, actually.
That's what I'm saying. That there's this gap, I think, going on where there's a lot of talented people coming up in these other genres of bikes, like, you know, like Justin from Torch and, you know, FXR Division. Like, there's lots of badass people, right? And I wonder, they don't go to rallies, though. They don't seem as interested to go to Sturgis as like, you know, you guys were. I love Sturgis. I try to go every year, but a lot of people are looking at the runs and the Born Frees now as more their kind of cup of tea and shit, you know?
No, that's cool stuff. Yeah.
Well, dude, we did an hour and a half. It's good, man.
Were we in here an hour and a half?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So what's tell everybody the Instagram, the website?
My Instagram's Dirty Bird Concepts. My Facebook is John Shope's Dirty Bird Concepts. Everything's Dirty Bird. And then if you want to go watch those episodes, go to Flippin' Dirty Bird.
Okay.
And that has those.
And it's on Facebook, right?
Yeah, it's Facebook Watch. And there's also, I did a thing not too long ago, a story of myself. Yeah. And I did it, each thing's like 3 minutes. Well, those are on that Flippin' Dirty Bird. You could watch them there or on my website or on YouTube. Our YouTube is Dirty Bird Concepts too. But I think, and I want to touch on this, I think a lot of the builders should do that. They could probably do it better than me. Make them 2 or 3 minutes long and start out, you know, when you were a kid, and, you know, if you got some pictures, show them. And just off the cuff with your cell phone or whatever, however you can do it, and go through to where you are today. I mean, and like everybody would like to hear Eddie Trotta's story, you know what I mean, or Dave Perrowitz's story or whatever. And I think if everybody did that, and Chris from Cycle Source is supposed to run with this, he's supposed to run mine and see how everybody likes it. But I think that, you know, I'd like to know these guys' stories, but I think that might liven up the whole thing, you know.
Yeah, I think it will, and I think people will have an easier time respecting each other.
Yeah, wow.
And not
look where he came from, and look what he, you know, built out with his hands, and you could really get to know. You know, I just think that'd be a great thing for the industry, for history, so stuff doesn't just die off and disappear, and you know, people.
And that's a good point, man. Die off and disappear. Yeah. I mean, fuck, we've talked about a few people that don't. I mean, Brian, he was on fucking TV building bikes, and now he's not into bikes anymore. Like that's. Yeah. That's dying off, man. In this industry, it is. You know, so.
Well, he told me 3 or 4 years ago. He goes, "That shit's over," and I'm like, "How do you figure, dude? You know what I mean? I mean, he's eating them words now. The bagger thing's still going, and now I have the dirty tail thing going. So I don't know why he told me that.
Guys that say that never should have been here in the first place.
Yeah.
And I hate to sound. I don't know him. I never met him, but that's what I would call an industry vulture. You're here to rape and pillage, and as soon as everything's dried up and you don't see another opportunity to create anything, you're just taking.
You burn rubber.
You know,
and some of his bikes, he had some good ideas, but they were all bondoed up crappers, dude. You know, he fucking knows it.
Yeah, I got some nice
cigarette
roads in
butts
Phoenix
in there and fucking beer bottle tabs, and if you started chipping that shit away with a hammer, who knows what you'd find? There bobby pins, fucking broken drill bits.
Fucking crazy,
right?
Something's always rattling in the side cover. You're like, what the fuck is this noise?
Yeah, what is that? It's like a shaker. But yeah, it's been a pleasure coming on here, man. I appreciate you guys having me, and I hope everybody likes it. And if you don't like me, go fuck yourself.
There you go. That's how you know. That's what it is.
Nah,
dude, we'll be back, man. Like the good thing about these things is we try to do these podcasts and let people know about you, and then our audience usually will they'll take interest and follow and see what you're doing if they don't already. Yeah. I know a lot of people know you, so they're like just a different insight to you. But
for you, Phoenix is you can grab a lot of people.
That's why I this is the first time I
travel.
I flew out here. I rode bikes across country to do podcasts with people, but like I can fly here, jump in a rental car, and knock out.
Damn. Are you gonna do Trask too?
Dude, I sent Trask. Here's the deal, like.
He's quiet.
He's quiet, but I sent some people. Like I had to go through a chain of command to get Yaffe. Like I had to call.
That's bullshit.
Well, it's just some people. Like first off, a lot of people don't know what podcasts are. Yeah. So then I have to pitch them on the podcast.
If you tell him I'm doing it, he'll do it.
I think that's what I got. Is that I said, hey,
Shope's doing it. He'll be like, oh yeah, come on over. But hopefully he has some little cracks about me. Me and him, all right, dude. Through the years, we had a real bad time, but we're all right now. You know what I mean? He's done a lot for the industry. He used to be one of my heroes. Don't let him know that. But years ago in the chopper thing, I was like, Paul Yaffe, when I met him at the Dirty Dog, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, wow. Like some people when they meet me now, which I don't get it, but it's, you know, so I
understand. Yeah, that's how it is.
It's a tough deal, but I don't know.
I think the first time I met a lot of people, like I was kind of like, I've always tried to play it cool. I think the first time I met you was at Rock Rally, and you were hanging out when I had Live Fast Customs was my shop, and I was trying to play it cool, like I'm a cool bike builder.
Was it what's his name? Who was your partner with that?
Was Nick Morale and DeMarcus, and DeMarcus was the fucking piece of shit dude.
But he was like the voice kind of your company. He was kind of the standout dude.
Yeah, the crazy thing is that
that's who I met. That's who I remember.
Yeah, you know, and that's what's weird about it. He
kind of had a Facebook presence or something, or he was posting stuff. Maybe
the Facebook page was mine.
Oh, it was.
It was just that he played the money game better. Because he's the one that talked to the money guy, and he's the one that got caught stealing like $750,000. You know what I mean? That's why I ended up giving them my shares of the company, because this dude was a crook.
Oh, that sucks.
And
I don't know him that good. That's another guy that came and went. You know what I mean?
It's because for them it was a show of money, and not it wasn't for passions of motorcycles.
Yeah, get some women. Bike builder,
be cool. Think about how many people in life would love to be famous in some form or fashion.
Oh, yeah.
And our industry's small, so it doesn't take a lot of effort to get some kind of recognition
status,
or get a status. Yeah, but one thing that I'm learning and just noticing as well is that like it's a different type of mentality be built for attention.
Yeah.
Like we're dudes, we're not hot chicks with big tits, so we're not used to that shit. Yeah. And if we were, what the fuck would, it's like a different thing for some of us, you know what I mean?
You're definitely on point there. Right?
And some people chase it. I mean, we talked about another guy that we both don't really like that much that is that way, and
lost tons of money, and now where is he?
Yeah. So anyway, thank you.
We'll end with that. Thank you. Thank you.
Positive vibes for the industry going forward.
Absolutely, man. You guys have a great day.
All right, peace out, everyone. Really hope you guys enjoyed that. I want to thank Simpson Motorcycle Helmets on Instagram and SimpsonMotorcycleHelmets.com. Dream Rides John on Instagram and TeamDreamRides.com. And don't forget Fast Life at checkout for 10% off. Kevin at Big Bear Choppers on Instagram and BigBearPerformance.com, as well as give him a call at 909-478-7788. Paint Huffer Metal Flake on Instagram and PaintHuffer.com, and Fast Life at checkout for 10% off. Lindahl Brakes on Instagram and LindahlBrakes.com. Fast Life at checkout, 10% off. And Lexan Moto on Instagram and LexanMotorcycle.com. 15% off when you use Fast Life at checkout. Thank you guys for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed this podcast. We'll be back again probably. We're going to wait a week. Because we just released 3. So let you guys catch up on this for this week of, the first week of October. And Monday we'll be back with Rebel Reaper Clothing, which is another clothing brand out of Phoenix that does a lot of cool shit. Had a great conversation. I'm looking forward to dropping that podcast. So you guys have a good week, and we'll see you back next Monday. Peace out.